right, this is Poly 19, number 11. So if you take a look at the equation, the first thing you notice is that it has four terms. So I would look at it and say, I wonder if I can solve this by grouping. So if I look at the first two terms, I could take out an x squared, and that would leave me with 2x plus 13. If I look at the second two terms, I could take out a 2, and that would leave me with 2x minus 21. So that shows you that grouping doesn't work because those two parentheses wouldn't be the same. So as soon as I decide that grouping doesn't work, my only choice is to go to my calculator, plug it into my calculator, and see if I can find a root that will help me knock this down to an x squared equation, and then I can solve it using the quadratic formula. So I'm going to go right to my calculator, go to my Y editor, put it into your calculator, and then graph it. Find a nice window and make sure that you transfer this window to your paper because this is part of your work. So you notice here there are no bounces, so there's no double roots here. It doesn't look like it crosses any of the axes right at an integer. So it looks like I'm going to have some sort of a fraction. So instead of going to my table, I think I'm just going to go to second calc, and I'm going to go find the 0. So I'll go to 2. And I'll just start at this very first one and see if I can figure out what that one is. So I'm going to put my cursor to the left of it and hit enter, and to the right of it and hit enter, and hit enter again. Well, that's negative 5.414214. That is not a fraction that I recognize. So I'm going to go on and move to the next one. Second calc, 0. I'm going to go to the left of it and then to the right of it and hit enter again. And that's negative 2.585786. Again, not a decimal that I recognize easily as a fraction. So I'm going to go to the last one, and hopefully this one will help me. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to complete the problem. So now this one tells me that this 0 is 1.5, and I know that that fraction is 3 over 2. So now I go to my work, and once again, you're going to draw your graph because that's part of your work, and you know that x equals 3 over 2 because you found that on your calculator. And so I'm going to use synthetic division, 3, 2, 1, 0. I don't need to put any zeros in. So 2, 13, 4, negative 42. Again, I'm going to erase my graph just because I need more room. Let's start this again. So I'm going to go 2, 13, 4, negative 42. And I found that 3 over 2 is a root. So I'm going to bring down the 2. I'm going to multiply, which will give me 3. I will add, which will give me 16. I will multiply, so that will give me 16 divided by 2 will be 8 times 3 will be 24. This will be 28. And then 28 divided by 2 will give me 14. 14 times 3 will give me the 42, which is 0. So now I know that I'm going to have an x squared equation, 2x squared plus 16x plus 28. But you'll notice that I can divide this equation by 2. So I'm going to divide out a 2. So I'll get 2x squared plus 8x plus 14 equals 0. I can take a moment and see if I can factor that, but 14 would be 7 and 2, and I don't see how I could get to 8, so I don't think that would work. So I'm going to go right to my quadratic formula. I'm going to go x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I don't have a calculator handy. I guess I have one in the computer, but 14 times 4 is 56, and I have then 64 minus 56, which is going to be 8. So I have negative 8 plus or minus. I can simplify the square root of 8 to 2 square root of 2 all over 2. All three numbers can be reduced, so I should reduce them. So this will be -4 plus or minus the square root of 2. So that's 2 of my roots, and 3/2 would be my other root. So that would be my solution. If you have any questions, let me know.